Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, let me tell you something that happened at my last physical. My doctor looked at my blood work, said everything was normal, and sent me on my way. And I just sat in my car thinking, why do I still feel so tired and kind of puffy all the time?
Right, and that word normal is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. Because here's what I've learned, a result can be technically within range and still be quietly working against you, especially when it comes to inflammation markers.
Which is exactly what we're digging into today. The inflammation tests your doctor runs, what they're actually measuring, and honestly, the ones that might matter even more.
Because chronic low-grade inflammation is increasingly linked to everything from cardiovascular disease to cognitive decline. And most of us have no idea what we're even looking at on that lab report.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. When people hear inflammation, they usually think of a swollen ankle or a bee sting, that acute, visible kind. But we're talking about something very different here.
Exactly. We're talking about systemic chronic inflammation, the kind that's slow, quiet, and often invisible. Researchers now refer to it informally as inflammaging, a term coined in work by immunologist Claudio Franceschi, describing the low-grade inflammatory state that tends to accumulate as we age.
Inflammaging. I love that word, and I also hate that it's real.
It's rather unsettling, yes, but understanding it gives you actual leverage.
So let's talk about what most doctors actually check. The standard panel, right?
Right. The most common is CRP, C-reactive protein. It's a protein your liver produces in response to inflammation. Standard lab ranges call anything under 10 milligrams per liter normal, but that range was designed to catch acute infection or injury.
So it's a pretty blunt instrument.
Quite blunt. The more useful version is hs-CRP, high-sensitivity CRP. Same protein, but measured with far more precision. The American Heart Association and the CDC jointly published guidelines suggesting that hs-CRP above 3 milligrams per liter signals elevated cardiovascular risk, even when the standard CRP looks perfectly fine.
And that distinction is one most routine physicals just skip right over. You have to specifically ask for hs-CRP.
Often, yes, which is frustrating given how much information it provides.
Here's the thing, though. That's already a major takeaway for our listeners. Before your next physical, ask your doctor specifically for hs-CRP, not just CRP. Write that down, y'all.
And while we're on the standard panel, let's mention ESR, erythrocyte sedimentation rate. It measures how quickly red blood cells settle in a tube. Elevated rates suggest inflammation, but it's non-specific. It tells you something's happening, not what or where.
It's like your body's smoke alarm going off, but you don't know which room.
That's a genuinely good analogy, Emma.
I have moments. So if those are the basics, what are the markers that actually matter more?
This is where it gets interesting. One of the most underutilized markers is fibrinogen. It's a clotting protein that also rises with inflammation. Elevated fibrinogen has been associated with increased risk of stroke and heart disease in longitudinal studies, including the Framingham Heart Study.
And most people have never even heard of fibrinogen.
Right. Then there's homocysteine, an amino acid that, when elevated, is independently associated with cardiovascular disease and cognitive decline. Researchers like Dr. Kilmer McCulley pioneered the link between homocysteine and arterial damage back in the 1960s, and it's still not on most standard panels.
Okay, I had to specifically request a homocysteine test when my dad started showing some memory issues. His doctor hadn't thought to run it, and his levels came back elevated. That was a real wake-up call for our family.
That's a meaningful personal example, and it illustrates a broader issue. The standard panel was designed for population-level screening, not individual optimization.
And for our listeners in the sandwich generation, caring for aging parents while managing their own health, this stuff is really relevant in both directions.
Absolutely. And there's one more I'd highlight, interleukin-6, or IL-6. It's a cytokine, essentially a signaling molecule that plays a central role in the inflammatory cascade. Elevated IL-6 has been linked to sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss, as well as depression and cardiovascular risk. Research published in journals like the Journals of Gerontology has flagged it as particularly relevant for adults over 50.
Now, I want to pause here because I know some listeners are thinking, okay, this sounds important, but is my doctor even going to take me seriously if I ask for all this?
That's a fair concern, and I'll be honest, not every GP will order a full inflammatory panel unprompted.
Right? And I've been in that office where you feel like you're being dismissed, which is why going in informed and specific makes a real difference. Saying, I'd like hs-CRP, homocysteine, and fibrinogen checked is very different from saying, I feel kind of inflamed.
Precisely. The language of specificity helps.
Now, y'all, this would be a really great moment to ask, if you're finding this useful, please hit like and subscribe. We are trying to get this information to as many people as possible, and your support genuinely helps.
So let's talk about what actually moves these markers. Because knowing your numbers is only useful if you can do something about them.
This is the part I care about most.
Research consistently points to a few key levers. Dietary pattern is significant. The pre-dimed study, a large randomized trial out of Spain, found that a Mediterranean-style diet reduced hs-CRP and other inflammatory markers meaningfully compared to a low-fat control diet.
And we're not talking about a perfect diet. We're talking about more olive oil, more oily fish, more vegetables, less ultra-processed food, doable stuff.
Sleep is another major lever. Work by Dr. Matthew Walker at UC Berkeley and research published in Sleep Journal both show that even short-term sleep deprivation elevates IL-6 and CRP measurably.
Which, as a mom, genuinely stresses me out, but also motivates me, because that's a lever I can actually pull.
And exercise, not extreme exercise, moderate, consistent movement. A 2019 meta-analysis in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that regular aerobic exercise significantly reduced CRP levels over time.
Okay, here's where I want to push back slightly though, because I hear this list, diet, sleep, exercise, and I think, David, we tell people this every episode. What makes inflammation markers the thing that actually gets someone to act?
Fair pushback. I think it's the specificity of the data. When someone sees their own hs-CRP number on a lab report, it's no longer abstract. It becomes personal. That's qualitatively different from general wellness advice.
Yes, that's actually well said. Your own number changes the conversation you have with yourself.
And the number can change. That's the optimistic part. These are modifiable markers. You're not simply stuck with them.
So what does a realistic first step actually look like? Not for a wellness influencer, for a real person with a real schedule.
Start with one test. Ask for hs-CRP at your next routine blood draw. See where you are. That's it. One number. Then you have a baseline.
And if your doctor pushes back, you can reference the AHA and CDC guidelines on hs-CRP. You're not asking for anything fringe. This is mainstream cardiology.
Correct. And if your result is above 3, that's a conversation starter, not a diagnosis. It's information, and information is useful.
Okay, so if you take one thing from today, it's this. Ask for hs-CRP specifically at your next physical, not just CRP, the high-sensitivity version. It's one test, one conversation, and it could genuinely change what you know about your own health.
Right, here's what I'd add. Inflammation is not your fate, it's a signal. And signals, when you learn to read them, give you real options. The research is there. The tools are accessible. The next move is yours.
Y'all, thank you so much for spending this time with us. If today's conversation gave you something useful, please share it with someone who might need it too. A parent, a friend, a partner. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe wherever you listen. It means the world.
Until next time, stay curious, stay well, and perhaps check your hs-CRP.
That's the most David sign-off we've ever done, and I love it. This show is part of the VoxCrea.AI system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
go to VoxCrea.AI and request a sample episode.